Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, Custom Carving and Epoxy UK. I hope you're all doing well. So those of you that have been following the channel know that I've been playing around with different effects, in particular recently the bloom effects with different sort of flowers and things like that in larger pieces. And I've also been playing around a lot with the Petri effect. And I love both effects for different reasons. I've had some absolutely stunning results. There's one where we basically added silicone oil to the white as well, which gave us a really cool effect. So I want to see if I can somehow get the Petri effect in a bloom. Now, I've struggled with it when I've tried in the past, but I think it's going to all be about timing for this. So that's what this experiment's about. I'm going to go mix up 6 ounces of resin because I'm only going to test it on 2 coasters first just to see if it works. And then we're going to see if we can get the Petri effect in a bloom. So it should be an exciting one. So I'm going to mix up 6 ounces of resin, put it in the debubbler, and then we'll be back. In fact, before I do that, guys, I just want to do a new bottle of Sea Deeper. And the reason why, I've been getting a few blobbing issues recently with my Petri, so I just thought it could be that I've been playing around with silicone oil and things like that, and one of my bottles has got contaminated. So I just want to be fair to the experiment. So again, I'm just using the larger bottle of the Sinker White version 2 from Let's Resin in the bottle. Just going to really shake it up so that pigment mixes all around. And again, I'm just showing you this in case you wondered how to do it yourself with the larger bottles. So I've actually got a 30ml needle tip bottle here because I use it quite a lot, and these 10ml bottles just don't last for me. So what I'm going to do is I've got these steel ball bearings. Got them from Amazon. I think they're about £4 for a pack of 100 or 200, something like that. And the first thing I'm going to do is just put, not too many, I just want 2, I think, in a bottle of this size, so I've got something to shake it around. And the reason I'm doing that is because with your white sinker the pigment will settle, so it's important to have something in there so that you can shake up the bottle like that and mix up the pigment so it's not all solidified, because again that could affect how it works. Now luckily it comes with this little funnel, so I'm going to use the funnel and I'm just going to fill this up. I've shaken this off screen for about 5-10 minutes now, so it should be nicely mixed. And then I'm just going to literally probably fill this bottle 3/4 of the way. And hopefully it should fix any problems I've been getting, because it's a brand new batch straight out the bottle, as you can see, so hopefully that's going to be uncontaminated and give me the results I want. Apart from I didn't want that to drip in the mould, so I'm going to have to clean the mould again. But that's pretty much it. And now I've got a big bottle of Sea Deeper ready to use in this experiment, so hopefully nothing will be affected by what I've been playing around with in the past. So I'm going to mix up the resin now, 6 ounces of the resin, put it in my debubbling machine, and we'll be right back. So we are back and I've got my resin nicely mixed. Now, as I said at the start, the key to this I think is going to be about timing, because we all know when we're doing standard blooms and things like that, we want the resin to get up to about 33, anywhere between, I don't know, probably 34 to 38 degrees. But if we're going to be using the white sinker to try and get the Petri effect, that also takes time. So normally in the Petri effect, you allow probably about an hour before you come in and do that stir, which is to allow that sinker to actually sink. Now, I haven't got the luxury of doing that if I want to put a bloom in as well, because I just don't think that that would work. So what I'm going to do is, unusually for me, I'm going to mix the white straight away and put it in my piping bag, leave that to one side, and then I'm going to pour directly into these 2 moulds, drop my inks and my white sinker and leave it for around about 25 minutes, because that's typically how long it takes my resin to get up to temperature when I leave it in the cup. Now I'm aware that by taking it out the cup, some of that heat's going to disperse and go, and also the white is going to be a different temperature because it's going to be in the piping bag. So it's going to be a very interesting experiment, and I think it's going to take a few attempts to play around with this and get it right, but I'm not sure. But I'm gonna, as I say, pour some in there for my white. Nothing crazy, probably about half a pot, because I think that's all I'm gonna need maximum. And then I'm also gonna try something different with these blooms, which is basically putting an edge round first before I even put in those alcohol inks or bloom design, just to see what happens. You know, it should be a fun little experiment, I think. So there's that. This then, I can pretty much pour straight in there. I'm not going to yet because there's no point. I still need to mix up my white, and that's where things can start to get messy. So into my white pot, I'm just going to put 1 drop of this ocean white pigment from Let's Resin, he says, and then unscrews the whole lid, and look at that. Any tips for keeping your ocean white lids clean, let me know. But I literally just want 1 drop of the ocean white pigment in there. When it decides it wants to come out, there we go, 1 drop and a little bit of string as always. And look at that. So just gonna clean off my glove first. Always have wipes to the side of you when you're doing any project, especially when you work with ocean white. It gets everywhere. I need to probably deep clean that bottle with some alcohol. Because I think it's because I've been using it so much recently, but there we go. So that is my ocean white. And as I say, I'm going to mix that now, make sure it's the right consistency, and then just pour it straight into the piping bag so that that is ready when I want it. And you almost want kind of a skim milk consistency so that you can still see through the stick, but it's still quite opaque. So I'm happy with that as a colour. Just going to keep mixing it around to make sure it's thoroughly mixed. And then that can go straight into my piping bag and wait till I'm ready, hopefully. And as I say, this is a bit strange for me. I think it's all going to be about timing, whether or not this is going to work. But I really wanted to experiment to see if I can get that Petri effect in a bloom, because I think it will look amazing. I think it will look almost like naturally in nature you get sort of crocuses and things like that where they get those bits sticking out on the petals, and I'm hoping for that kind of effect. So that is pretty much my white. And as I say, I'm going to leave that for now. Just get it in the bag, ready to go. And excuse the crackling, I'm sure we'll hear it. And squeeze it down. And that is really cold at the minute. So, again, I shouldn't need that now for around about 25 minutes or so. Maybe even half an hour. So I'm just going to leave that to one side. And now I'm going to go straight to sort of pouring the actual resin for these 2 coasters. Now what I'm going to do is in this pot, I'm just going to put in some black pigment. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. And I just want to see if by doing this around the sides before actually pouring, and I think that's all of my black pigment, so I'm hoping that's going to be dark enough. But I just wanted to see, as I say, if by adding a colour at the sides, I'm going to add a purple to it as well because I want it quite deep and dark. If it keeps the colour, even when I'm putting this Petri method in, even if when I'm putting in the bloom. So I still want it to be reasonably transparent but quite opaque, if that makes sense. So if you see on my stick, that is really transparent, but actually in the cup, it looks quite dark. So I'm reasonably happy with that. And then the plan is to pour this around the sides of each of the 2 moulds that I'm going to be using, and then just pour the clear in. And then we will have the base for the alcohol inks. Just giving them a quick wipe again. Promise you I have cleaned the mould. So there we go. I'm just going to move that to the side. And then as I said, I just want this around the side of each. Just a thin layer, as close as I can get it to the edge. Reasonably even, hopefully, like so. And I'm going to do the same with this one. And again, this is almost 2 experiments in one, because I haven't done this before either. And there we go. Reasonably even, I think. And then hopefully when I pour the white in, that's just going to push this further to the side so I can still get my alcohol inks in. And what I'm going to do at this point is just, I know it's been 5 minutes so far, so I'm going to start a timer as soon as I poured this. So again, just going straight into the center. And that should push that black back out to the side, which it has. Which is what I wanted. And just so you guys know, it's about 21 degrees in my working space at the minute. So that is my temperature as such that we're starting at. And I think that one's slightly fuller than this one. So I'm going to scrape the rest into there. And then hopefully we'll get 2 reasonably even sized coasters, at least, if nothing else. And with these molds, these standard sort of coaster molds, this one's actually from Resin. You don't need to fill them, guys. If you fill them, they're far too thick. They're about 1 inch thick if you completely fill them. I normally find halfway is probably best for me with these coasters. Otherwise, for me, as I say, they're just too thick. So there you go. I've now literally poured the resin, and that's all I've done. And now I'm just going to torch the top to get rid of any surface bubbles and see if I can see any through there. Obviously when I drop my alcohol inks, it's going to get rid of any on the surface anyway, but I just don't want any blatant bubbles. So there's that stage. Now, if I can get my phone, I'm going to start a timer. And I'm going to wait until that gets to 25 minutes before I actually put my bloom paste in, because that's typically how long it takes for me for my bloom to get up to temperature anyway. So let's go in with the inks first. And me being me, I'm going to do 2 completely different colours. So for the first one, I'm going to go with orange in the centre, like so. And then dark indigo around the sides. And I don't mind it being quite a dark colour, because I think once I add the Sinker white, it's going to lighten it all up. So that's that one. And then for the other one, I'm going to go with a magenta centre and azure blue for the outers. Always put your lid straight back on as well, guys, in case you knock it over. I've done that before and it's a pain to clean. And then this is the azure blue. There we go. So that's my first layer of inks. Next I'm going to go in with my sea deeper. And I think as well, just to give it a really good chance, I'm going to go in with 2 layers and see what happens. So again, I'm going to put a drop for every colour that I've just put down. So 1 in the centre and 1 for each drop of colour that I've put down, like so. Oops. It's got a mind of its own sometimes. Now I'm going to let that settle for a second and just give it a chance to completely cover. And then I'm going to go in again with the same colours, just to, again, hopefully help it. So again, an orange and indigo. And then I'm going to do 1 more layer of my white sinker, and then I'm going to leave that, and I think that's good to go. Then I'm going to use my magenta again, as you can see it's going pink already, the magenta. And then azure blue. I think I'm going to get some purple in this one, just because the colours I'm using. But I don't mind that. I think they'll actually go quite well together. And then back in again with my white sinker. And then see what happens. And then obviously I'm going to come back, leave it now for about 20-25 minutes, let it do its thing. And then come back and put in the bloom petals and see what happens. So I'll see you guys in about 20 minutes. Hey guys, and I'm back. And interestingly, do you know how I said we weren't going to wait an hour? It's been an hour, and the reason why is I keep coming back and checking the temperature. And at the minute, the temperature inside there is only 27.7. And again, it's about the same with the bloom paste. So I don't want to pour the bloom until this gets up to at least 32 degrees. So I don't know how long that's going to take, but I'm going to keep checking the temperature. I just want to give this the maximum chance of success. And obviously, hopefully, by giving it over that hour, it's given that white sinker the chance to actually sink. So hopefully this is going to work, but I don't know. So, as you see, we're at about 27 degrees at the minute. So I would estimate it's probably going to be another 10 to 15 minutes at least before it's at the temperature where I want to pour. So interesting. As I say, it's been just over an hour, and that resin still is at about 28 degrees. So I'm going to wait till it gets to 32 as a minimum. And I am conscious at the minute, because obviously you've only got a 40-minute working time with this resin, and it's already been an hour, well, an hour and 5 minutes if you include what time it's been in the debubbling machine. But it's going to be an interesting part of this experiment, and I just wanted to let you guys know how it's going, so that you can see the full experiment. But I'll be back in 15 minutes, gloved up, ready to go, and hopefully ready to do those blooms. Hey guys, and I'm back, and it's been let me check the timer, but it's been over an hour and a half now. And this resin still isn't getting up to that 32 degrees. And I'm just concerned, unless I do something quick, we might have an issue where it won't have time to bloom. So just having a look now, it's been an hour and 34 minutes. And obviously it's already had 5 minutes in the debubbler, so that is nearly an hour and 40 minutes. And in the mold, we're only up to around about 28 degrees, and even the white paste that is in the piping bag is only up to about 28 degrees. But I'm conscious that if I leave it any longer, we might not get any effect. And the reason why is the resin's really starting to get quite stringy, which is normally when I'd put in my designs if I'm doing the Petri effects. So I'm going to go for it. And if it doesn't work, the next time what I'm going to try and do is wait for that resin to heat up in the cup a little bit. So maybe, normally it takes about 20 minutes to get up to that 32 degrees. So maybe wait, I don't know, 15 minutes and then pour. But I'm also sure that when you pour out for the bloom process at 30 to 33 to 35 degrees, whatever it is you're waiting for, that it cools down as soon as you pour it. So I'm hoping that I've judged it about right. But we won't know. But again, I'm just conscious of the fact that I don't want these to fully cure and me not to be able to put a design in at all. So, and even that, it's not feeling very warm, the white bloom paste. And I expected that because obviously it's in quite a compressed container to be warmer than that. But that's coming up at 29 degrees. But I'm going to go for it because it's my first time experimenting with it. And if I'm being honest, I'm a little bit impatient. And an hour and 40 minutes with a resin of a working time of 40 minutes is long enough. So I'm going to snip off the end, and I'm going to do it quite thin because I want quite detailed spirals going around these, if it works, and then we'll get to put in the design. So, and do me a favor guys, if you're liking these experiments, if you're liking the content, just like and subscribe to the channel. Makes a massive difference. Less other people on YouTube know about us, and hopefully we can keep growing together as a community. So I've just snipped off the end and I'm hoping that it's dripping out by itself, which it is, which is great. And I'm just going to put those spiral designs in now. So here we go. Letting the resin drip out naturally. Starting in the center. And I'm just hoping it doesn't sink too much. Because there's double risk of the B word in this experiment. There's the potential of the white sinker creating the B word. And there's the potential of obviously the bloom paste that we've mixed with the ocean white creating the B word. But it's not sinking too fast at this point. So it gives me hope. And as I say, it's my first time with this experiment. So I don't know if it's going to work at all. I just thought it'd be a cool experiment. And I've been thinking to myself the past few weeks, how can I combine the Petri effect and the bloom effect? Because I love both of them and I think they would look great in a finished piece. Now it's just whether or not I can get that finished piece. And there we go. So that's the first one. And again, starting out pretty much in the center for number 2. And the good thing is, as I say, it's not sinking straight away, but it is still sinking a little. And I'm just hopeful, as I say, that I've judged it right. If not, next time I know and I wait a little bit longer. But let me know in comments, guys, do you think this is going to work? Do you think I'm going to be able to get the Petri effect on some of these petals? Do you think the flower's still going to bloom after an hour and a half? Let me know in comments, you know. I'm intrigued to know what you guys think. And just let me know what you think of the experiment as well, because it's something different that I don't think I've seen anyone do before. And I'm always looking for new experiments to try new techniques with resin and see what results we get. And I'm just wondering if this is going to bloom at all, with the fact it's been sort of an hour and 40, an hour and 50 minutes since I started. So I'm going to go in nothing spectacular here, just the standard clock design, which you've seen on many of my tutorials, I'm sure. So going in from the center, from 12 o'clock, and you can see it is quite stringy already. And this is going to be really interesting just to see if it works. And if it does, I think it's going to look amazing. But as I say, there's a double risk in this project of the B word, so we will find out together. And again, with it being so thick, I'm just intrigued as to if we'll get any bloom effect at all. But I'm really hoping that we still get some of that Petri effect, because it's something that, as I say, I love both effects and I haven't seen in a bloom yet. And it's probably been done by somebody and I've just not seen the video, because a lot of us resin artists kind of think alike. So there's that. I'm going to pull this one in as well. I think the Petri will be there, but I don't think, as I say, I just don't think that these will actually bloom now. But we will find out together. Again, I'm going to do my usual, so come in probably 1, 2, 3 from there and then pull out like so. And I think it'd be interesting if I only do it on half. 1, 2, 3. So that will really give us a different petal shape, hopefully. 1, 2, 3. But again, I'm just conscious of how thick the resin already feels. In fact, no, I am going to pull them all out. And as to whether or not that will affect us getting a bloom, but I'm just hoping to get, as I say, some form of Petri spores in the centre. So again, I'm going to do the same with this one. Well, there we go. That is pretty much it. Now, I'm just going to torch it and leave it. So do let me know in comments, guys, if you think it's going to work. or if you think it's just going to be a mess. But I'm pretty happy with the design, and it's just whether or not we're going to get either the bloom effect or the Petri effect. Obviously I'm hoping for both, but it's all up to the resin gods now, whatever happens. So let me know what you think in comments, guys, and we'll come back tomorrow and demold and see what we've got. Personally, I think it's just going to leave that design in. I don't think it's going to bloom, but we'll find out together tomorrow. Hey guys, and I'm back, and I couldn't leave it like this because for me, these two I don't think are going to bloom, and I think I've just got to play around with the timings a bit more and the temperatures. So I've got these two molds next to it. I thought I'll try again with completely different temperatures and times. So the plan is this time I've mixed up 6 ounces of resin again. I'm actually going to wait this time for the resin to get up to temperature, which I'm going to wait for 33 degrees for this experiment. Then I'm going to pour and mix my white and everything the same as before. I'm going to fast forward through it as well so that you guys don't have to watch an hour-long video. But I'm going to wait for this to get to 33 degrees. Then I'm going to pour, mix my white, and do exactly the same as what I did with these, but with the resin already being up to temperature. And I'm only going to wait probably 15 minutes before I put the bloom in and see if that creates a better effect. So I'll see you once this resin gets up to temperature. Hey guys, and I'm back, and it's been about 15-20 minutes, and you can see the temperature of the resin's already up to 31.1. Now, I don't want to pour it all yet, but what I am going to do is mix my white now, because I'm expecting to have to wait sort of 20 minutes to give that Petri at least some time to take effect, and I don't want the white to flash cure in that time. So the theory is by doing that at 31 and pouring the rest at 34, it should keep a reasonably even temperature. So again, I'm just going to pour out half a cup's worth again, and that should be enough. And then I'm going to leave the resin to one side to carry on heating up a little bit. And as I say, I don't know if this is going to work or not, but I just don't think they're going to bloom. And I want to get the Petri and the bloom in one coaster. So again, just going to add just over a drop, so a drop and a half of the ocean white. And again, guys, if you haven't already, do me a favor, just like and subscribe to the channel. I'm really trying to push the channel this year and get us to grow. We're at nearly 7,000 subs now, which is amazing. I was hoping we would reach 10,000 before Christmas. Still could happen, but I need you guys to like and subscribe. It tells me that you're liking the content, and it's the only way that I know that you're liking what I'm doing. I'm trying to put out at least 2 to 3 videos a week at the moment, which is a lot of work and a lot of resin. So if you can just do me a favor, like and subscribe. Let me know what you're thinking in comments. Give it a thumbs up, give it a thumbs down. It all helps the algorithm. So as you can see, this is my white. Mixed it up exactly the same as last time. So I'm just going to pour that into the silicone cup, piping bag. And that is going to be my white. At whatever temperature it's at, and I will take the reading when I'm ready for it. So at the minute, just by mixing it and adding in the white pigment, the ocean white from Let's Resin, just want to see what temperature it's at now in the bag. So it's still at 30.9, so that's okay. I'm not overly concerned. So I did get a drip of it in there, so I'm just going to give these a wipe again, because again, if I do get the effect, I don't want to ruin it by having a blob. And I've just said the word. So again, just when you get your piping bag, give it a squeeze down like so, and a twist, and then that should be ready to go whenever I am. So that is that. Now the main resin that I've left in the cup is now at 33 degrees, so I think we're good to go pretty much. So what I'm going to do is, again, the same as I did last time, just pour a little bit into this cup. Again, about halfway. And I'm going to go green this time. Don't know why, I just think it would look interesting. So I've got some green resin dye from Let's Resin, and for me it just isn't very dark, so I am going to add some alcohol ink to it as well. So I'm going to put 7 drops has gone in there, and I'm going to see what that looks like. As I say, I just want to get this effect to work. So I thought, rather than do a whole new video, in fact that is going to be dark enough actually with the 7 drops, I would just do another one straight away. These were sat empty, and I thought, you know what, I've got the time, hopefully I've got the patience, and we can make it work. So again, looks really dark in the pot, but actually when you bring it out it's quite transparent. So again, just going to pour around the sides like we did last time. Now again, just because I'm really intrigued at the temperatures, the resin's still at 33 at the minute, and the white paste is at about 30 degrees. So I'm just going to pour this into the centre, hopefully pushing that green out, so that we will get a nice clearish centre. So if the bloom works, we'll see it. Again, trying to push it all the way out, but actually this is not working as well as the black did, so be interesting, I think. Trying to get it reasonably evenly spread, like so. And then, just out of curiosity, once I poured, it was at 33 degrees. As you can see, it's dropped down to 30 already. And I can see a couple of little bubbles in there already, so I just want to get those out before I start. There's one there, which is on the base. One there, which is on the base. And then this one has a couple as well. So just trying to get them out, force them to the top as it were, and then the torch will deal with them, hopefully. So that is that part. Just going to give it a quick torch now, and that should get rid of any surface bubbles like that one there that's been a bit stubborn. And in fact that one's still pretty much in the middle, so I just want to get it out. Sometimes they just need a bit of persuasion. And there we go. So that should, in fact it's still there. Very stubborn bubble. There. So that's the bubble gone. Now I'm going to drop the inks. And I'm going to go with a different colour scheme this time. So I've got my lemon yellow. And I've got some different reds. Again, make sure you shake up those inks. So this one, I'm going to put 3 drops in because it's quite a delicate colour, this lemon yellow. And then I'm going to go round it with red. And hopefully that's going to create some nice oranges and different colours. So that's that one. And see what I mean? You can't really see that yellow. I'm going to do the same with this one, but with peach red, which should give us a nice pink colour. And this will be interesting actually, because this is the main colour that I have problems with when it comes to muddying. And I think it's because it's so vibrant. So there we go, that's those. Now my white sinker, again, giving it a good shake before I use it to make sure that it's all mixed up. And then 1 drop per drop of colour. And then back in with the white sinker. As I say, hopefully it's going to work. Literally, I'm only giving it 15 minutes this time, depending on what temperature this resin's getting to. So you see that's already at 32.5 degrees at the minute. So again, I don't want that flash curing either before I've got time to pour it. And it is feeling reasonably warm, but I think I'm okay for 10-15 minutes. And again, let me know in comments, guys, if you think this is going to work. I'm going to put 1 more drop just on the top of that, just because I think it's such a faint colour, the lemon yellow. And then, as I say, in 15 minutes, I'm going to pipe the bloom, same design, so the spiral design, and see if it works this time. But I am conscious that I want it to bloom this time. These ones haven't bloomed, and I think it's because I left it too long. But you can see the temperature, as soon as you pour it, that's down to 24.2 pretty much. I'm going to go as close as I can. Oh no, sorry, 26.2. So 26.2 and 28, and then the paste at the minute is at 28.8. In fact, I might not leave it the full 15. I'm going to leave it 10 minutes. So leaving that sinker white to hopefully do its thing within 10 minutes, which is asking a lot, but we have double layered it, so hopefully it's going to work. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to add one final layer of the sinker white, and then that way it's had 3 layers of that sinker white, and hopefully that just makes it a little bit heavier. Not too heavy to create the B word, but hopefully heavy enough to really push those spores out and hopefully get some nice spores and colours, because that's what I'm wanting here, is to still get those spores and to get the bloom effect in one coaster. Looks amazing, that one. It's like a disco, I think, in a coaster. So again, just gonna leave it. It's been 4 minutes and 18 seconds so far, and as you can see, we're up to 32.6 with the bloom paste. But I'm just hoping by giving it these few minutes and that extra layer this time of the sea deeper, the white sinker basically, it gives it chance to spore a little bit before I draw that bloom in. But I think that was why this hasn't bloomed. It's been left so long, the resin's pretty much curing and it's beyond its working time. And look at that, it goes all the way back down the temperature as soon as you've poured it. So it's going to be interesting. And it's been 5 minutes so far. Gonna fast forward this, guys, so you haven't got to sit here and watch it with me for 5 minutes. So there we go, guys, pretty much 10 minutes. It will be by the time I get to it. And I just want to go for it now because, as I say, the biggest thing I want here is the bloom effect, which I'm conscious that I'm running out of time with. So again, just because I'm curious as to temperatures and things like that at the minute with this project, 26.7, 24.9 where we've actually poured, and then the bloom paste is at 33.9. And what I'm hoping for here is that it doesn't just sink through, because if it does, again, we're going to get the B word. So I'm hoping I've left it long enough, and I'm hoping that by doing it at this point we can still get that bloom effect, but we'll find out. And again, I'm just going to go with the same design as I did last time, that spirally design with the clock face, and then see what we get. So starting in the center, and it is sinking already a little bit, not going all the way though, so I'm still hopeful at this point. And there we go, that's one, and there we go, and that's that. Now I'm just going to draw them in, same as before, starting there, bringing it into the center, and just because I think it's going to hopefully look cool, I am going to give it a tiny swirl in the center as well, and then pull them out again. But interestingly, again, it doesn't really seem to be blooming yet, which is unusual. Again, same design for this one, straight into that center. And there we go, guys. It's just a case now, I think, of letting it do its thing, hoping it's going to bloom, which I can't really see the underside, so it's going to be difficult for me to be able to tell. But I think there's more chance of this one working than the other ones, but we'll find out together tomorrow. I just wanted to give it 2 different attempts, 2 different times, 2 different temperatures, as you've seen, and see what happens basically. So I'm going to leave that now until tomorrow, and then we will demold both tomorrow and see what we've got. Morning, guys, and it's the next day, and I'm excited for this. If I'm being honest, what I'm expecting is for the Petri to have worked in this one but not the bloom, and the bloom to have worked in these 2 but not the Petri, but we will see. I'm hopeful that I might get a nice surprise. But before we go into the coasters, I've got this little drip French bulldog as well, so I might as well demold him or her and see what it looks like. So I'm loving that already. Here we go. And these moulds are an absolute pain to demold, but there we go. So he's out the mould. Wow, look at that. Again, I think he's turned out really cool. Just all those different layers of colours. So I think I've got 3 of these now. And I have got another spare mould to start using as a drip mould. So yeah, love him. I think he's worked out really well. But on to the main experiment, which this video is about, which is, can we get the Petri effect in a bloom? So going to start off with these 2. Now, if you remember, these are the 2 where I left it virtually an hour and a half. So I think the Petri will have definitely worked, but I just don't think it will have bloomed. So we'll have a look. And if you can see, we have got the Petri effect working. Tiny bit of blob in there in the centre, which is a little bit disappointing. But still quite a pretty piece, I think. And I love the fact that some of those little spores have just come out over the petals, and they're actually very neat petals. So very neat, but as you can see, they haven't bloomed. They just pretty much stayed in place, which is what I pretty much expected. But I like them, and look at them from the side. Look at all those spores just reaching for the surface. And I'm not surprised there's a little bit of blobbing, just because, as I say, it was an hour and a half before I actually did any movement in there. And I've got those couple of blobs on the surface, but do you know what? I still think that is a lovely piece. Different, I would say. But let me know what you think in comments, guys, to that one. And this is the second one, which I did with the same method. And again, it's the same, really. We've got some blobbing. Got some beautiful spores, though. And that's one of the things I love about the Petri effect, is just those spores it creates. And I do, in a weird kind of way, even though they haven't bloomed, I do quite like those petals, how neat they are. So let me know what you think in comments, guys. But that was the first one. Wouldn't really say that was a success, getting the Petri in the bloom. Because, as I say, a couple of the spores have touched the surface, creating that blob. And we didn't really get the bloom effect. So that's those 2. And now, if you remember, the next 2 I did a lot quicker. So I put 3 layers of this white down, though, which worries me a little bit when I can already see blobbing on these with 2. But I was a lot quicker in putting the bloom paste in. So I've got a feeling that we will have had at least the bloom with these. And again, I went with green, which was a strange choice for me. But look at that from the back. Wow. So that is very different. Again, a couple of spots of blobbing. We've had the bloom, and we've kind of got the Petri in certain areas, but not as much. If you can see those spores. And actually, I do quite like that, strangely. I think that's come out really well. Except for that one blob, I would say. And I love the combination of the Petri and the bloom, which is what I was hoping for. Now, I am probably going to attempt this again with just, again, slightly different timing, because this shows me that it's possible. It's just about getting that timing right. But love that. Absolutely love it. And it's something that's quite unique and different. I don't think I've seen a bloom quite like that before. And then this one was done at the same time, that really vibrant pink. And looking on the side, we've got some spores. Wow, look at that. Again, we have got that Petri effect and the 3D bloom. Tiny bit of surface touching there. But do you know what? I think these are very, very different. Which is what I'm always searching for on this channel. Is something that's different. And I love looking through the sides of these just to see those spores. So, I don't know. I would say they're kind of a success. Again, very, very different blooms. We have got an element of Petri. Not quite the way I'd sort of envisioned it. But do you know what? They're lovely pieces nonetheless. So let me know what you think in comments, guys. And let me know if you think there's a better way to try it because I'm convinced that it's possible, and I'm going to do it again. But I love those elements of Petri as well as that bloom in the ones that have come together. These ones not so much because, as I say, there's a little bit too much blobbing for my liking, and we didn't really get the bloom effect, but it was mainly Petri in those. But again, let me know what you think in comments, guys. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the next one.